Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I am Alicia Barney Matahari. Returning subscribers and visitors, welcome back. I am so very happy to have you. Drop-ins, newcomers, so lovely to have you swing by. Today we are asking your higher selves and our guide teams, what is your living legacy as of this moment, this snapshot in your current incarnation on this beautiful, beautiful planet? So we have 3 piles today. Pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Take a moment and check in with your higher self. Decide which pile is for you, and I will get started with pile number 1. Okay, pile number 1. Let's pop your number 1 up here on top of this absolutely stunning piece of lapis lazuli that I absolutely adore. Ooh, you have got cycles and rhythms from the Goddess Oracle deck. Beautiful, beautiful. A lot of purple, a lot of blue. Very, very soothing. Very, very crown chakra colors. And of course, you've got the purple here. And it's reminding me of Queen Maeve, who is a Celtic, she's a Celtic queen. And she was the Queen of Connacht. This is cycles and rhythms. Honor the cycles of your body, energy levels, and emotions. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm seeing the wave pattern here on this fabric that's really it's really meshing very, very nicely with this card. You've got sacral chakra. And this is from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle deck. Flower of Life, and for the sacral chakra, just beautiful. The frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. So beautiful. That's giving me a nod to nature with the, the cycles again. Winter, spring always follows winter, and feminine is very much caught up with the cycles. Then you have Beaver, which is Beaver medicine, which is 22. And 22 is a master number. Very, very. So you have mastery over these cycles that you have been working through this incarnation. Really gorgeous. And then 14, the crystal guardian. Absolutely beautiful. So you are definitely my pile who is, I'm getting both very strong integration for you. You've had a lot of mastery over the integration of cycles in your incarnation this lifetime. And one of what I'm seeing very beautifully is the dance and how you have integrated not only the cycles but also the energies of masculine and feminine. Like the doing, it's kind of like you have this, what I'm seeing for you is you're my artistic pile, my shamanistic pile, my witchy pile. I'm seeing you really, whether or not you have grounded in a creative body of work, that's definitely something that you have the ability to do. And not only do you have the beautiful, juicy, creative flow and connection with the divine, you're very well able to express it. And it comes through, there's a lot of blue here for, you know, truth and air element, but we've also got the water here very strong. Sacral is the water chakra, and beaver, when you think about it, beaver builds its home on water, but it's a mammal. So this, you very, very good at your ability to manage water and to use water themes like your intuition, depth of emotion, and to use it in a very beautiful and, I want to say, divine conscious way. You could be, and I don't mean necessarily that like you sit there and you go, I'm going to give to the divine every time I, you know, make a painting, or I'm involved in crafts, or I create a business, or I do this, that, and the other. You might be one of those unconscious competence. You might just innately be very drawn to expressing in a way that is very in harmony with your intuition, in harmony with the rhythms and the cycles of Mother Earth Gaia. I feel like being in nature is very, very healing for you, very, very enlivening for you. And when you, it's very rejuvenating for you as well. I feel like if you don't expose yourself to your natural rhythms and to nature itself, I see you maybe someone who likes to walk around barefoot quite a bit and maybe outside. Just there's a rawness and an honesty to you in how you express, whether that's in, you know, how you write, how you speak, how you dance, how you create, how you bring your ideas to life, how you ground them down into your life. And I think that people in your life probably would have regarded you as somebody, or do regard you as somebody who either is an artist or could have been an artist. And then we also have, this is giving me really strong galactic vibes and magical vibes. It's the crystal guardian, and crystals hold knowledge. So I believe that you're really, well, your guides are confirming this, that you're really right on time with your own activations, with the astrology that's happening. You just are really good at tuning into your own, needs. Going with the flow is not synonymous with people pleaser. Going with the flow is that you do not always agree just to go along with somebody else's plan. Going with the flow does not mean that you are someone who will never make a decision, who will always outsource their decision making to someone else. Going with the flow is empowering, you know, this is giving me really strong sun vibes as well, solar plexus vibes. So that the sun is who we show up as and who we are. And we've a lot of blue here as well. And the blue is reminding me of the throat chakra. And it's even though the heart is the air chakra, it's really, I'm getting so much integration for you. But you know that the pen is mightier than the sword. You're good with your words. You're good with your expression. You're great with the truth. You're impeccable with your word. You do what you say and you say what you do, and you expect that of other people. When you're angry, you express it. When you're sad, you express it. You don't hold onto it and let it ferment inside you to become like to stagnate and to mutilate into something else. You put it out into the world. You're a great transmuter, and you may very naturally, whether you're aware of it or not, you probably will be very good at working with crystals, because inside of crystals is they use crystals. They use crystals in they use quartz, which basically is crystals, in computers. So you're very smart as well. So you've got that really strong balance between masculine and feminine. So I would imagine people would recognize you as being someone not only who is a bit of an all-rounder, but you're very smart as well. You're neither I'm trying to think what I'm the kind of somebody who's good at art, but is also like book smart as well, and somebody who can have a conversation and simplify things down to a very, layman, can crystallize things into layman's terms, and someone who also probably enjoys and appreciates, like is just naturally aware of when they move their body, or when they understand their body without really thinking about it too deeply. They know that if they don't, for example, if they don't meditate, they don't feel good and the day goes differently. If they start eating a lot of junk food or stuff that doesn't work for their body, they notice it and they notice how it shows up in their lives. Same for exercise, that kind of thing. Like, you're very in tune with your spirituality and with your worldliness. It's very likely that you're very good with money as well. So we've got a lot of themes of flow and integration and flexibility. You're very balanced. That's what I want to say. Balanced and integrated. Now, how you came to be at this point, I was reading a quote earlier on that said something like, beauty to me is someone who is the whole beauty of a person, the inside and the outside. How you treat yourself, how you treat other people, and how you present yourself in the world as well, and how you receive others in the world. So that's the epitome of beauty for me. And I feel like you're someone, so the quote was something along the lines of, beauty in youth can be accidental, but beauty in age is hard earned, or something like that. It doesn't just happen. I guess it's intentional. I'm totally butchering it. I don't think it was by anyone famous. It was just some meme I came across. Anyway, let's go a bit deeper and pull some tarot cards for you. You have got Daughter of Air. Beautiful. So that's straight away giving me, again, communication. And Daughter is the Page. So you're very open to, you have this beginner's mind about you. You never think that you're the smartest person in the room. You always know that there are people who have strengths in other areas to you, but you also are very strong in knowing what your own strengths are. Okay, we've got the Devil here as well. So you may have been around, you may have been in the past in either, imbalanced kind of relationships where you had to shore up either your expression or all that beautiful stuff that you had inside you, your knowledge, your creativity, your emotionality. You may have had to strengthen your boundaries in order to be able to give that back to yourself. You may have numbed out at some stage. That the devil can sometimes be getting attached to certain things like addictions, or even, kind of overcompensating in one area, which is basically another form of imbalance. You could have had people who really admired this in you and leaned on you to feed them rather than taking care of it for themselves. But you're very highly aware that all of this is available to whomever chooses to accept that. And then we've got the Seven of Swords. So we've got more air out on the board. And this is actually the Cuckoo. This is Moon in Libra. So that's again reiterating possibly lack of give and take, where maybe you were over giving in a relationship, or maybe you were taking more, but I'm really getting you're more of a giver. And again, you're highly social as well. The beaver, we didn't really go into it. Like, the beaver's got really sharp teeth, and the beaver can like cut down with its teeth. It's the wood to make its home, to make the I forget what you call the beaver house. But they have, they're waterproof. They're really technically very, I want to say smart. So over time, they've evolved on how to build this. So they're safe. You're able to. It's a sanctuary. So they're very social as well, and they have a whole social thing going on inside. And it's almost like a mini. It's like a mini community. It's not like one. Every family of beaver has its own kind of. Is it no? Badger is a set, I think. I don't know I can't remember what it is for a beaver. Anyway. They're very social. They're very nurturing. There's a lot of play that goes involved in taking care of their young, and they're kind of like they've got a community thing going on more so than, let's say, with the cuckoo. The cuckoo lays its eggs in another bird's nest and takes from them to feed their own young. Like allowing somebody else to feed their own young, in other words, abdicating their responsibilities. So you may have been around people that abdicated responsibilities, and you're so nurturing, and you know how to act in a way that is, takes care of the group and does their part, but you may have had to learn how to not be taken advantage of. Then we've got joy. Oh, this is beautiful. So joy is in the medicine deck, which didn't come out here, but it's reminding me of this. It's the Nine of Cups in this in this deck. So it's wish fulfillment. So on your own, the Nine of Cups is your own being able to really bring forth your own wish fulfillment. And to me, that means like, well, what is it that lights me up? You hear people say, I love what I do. And then you hear other people be like, I don't like what I do. And I'm hearing, like, if you want to love what you do more of what you love. And I think you naturally do that. And that builds a kind of magnetism in you, a beauty in you that really draws people in. And they can sometimes want to take it from you or feed off of it instead of really understanding that that's available to them too, and they can go within and they can generate that themselves, and that's actually their route to happiness. The other thing is that I feel like you're very good at being able to come home to, we talked about the body previously, but be able to come home to your body. So meditation is probably very soothing for you, and you probably know that. In the medicine deck, dolphins have been around, I want to say, for about 11 million years, so a lot longer than humans. Dolphin is the keeper, the sacred keeper of the keeper of the sacred breath. They're mammals, they live in water, so you've got that duality and that integration. They're incredibly social, they're incredibly playful. And then you see how they can really perceive on a very high level. If you've ever seen how they can interact, let's say, with autistic children, for example, things like that, where they can really meet humans where they are much better than humans can meet dolphins where they are, for example. Very, very, very beautiful. You've got the Fool as well. Beautiful. So the Fool is that, ability to start new adventures. I feel like you're very creative. You're in a new chapter, and your original chapter, it's giving transformation. It's giving transformation from being overly relied on. We mentioned people pleaser, not being as in like doing what everybody else wants you to do. So maybe, and I love this Fool card as well, because it's really reminding me that you kind of almost had to have a rebirth. You had to reparent yourself into knowing who you are. And I saw another quote about something, I think it's Carl Jung who said, the greatest privilege of our lives is becoming who we are, not who we were. And I don't know if this is the second part of the quote is, not who we were told we should be. So you are in that stage where you're really living into your authenticity. And I hate to use that word because it's so overused right now in the lexicon, but you're just really, you march to the beat of your own drum. You know what's for you. You know what has your name on it. You're not afraid to make a turnaround and do something else. You're not afraid to just, you know, dance in the rain, to like splash in a puddle, to look, you know, to look silly doing it. You're not one of those people that seems to have, well, the energy that's coming through is you're not permanently like got in selfie mode and, you know, looking around to see who is watching you. And that can be very attractive in itself. And I feel like other people may take that, especially in this day and age, as rejection, because there's so much, we're just trained so much to look for external validation. And when you have your own wish fulfillment, internal validation, when you're let's say you're communing with your own guides, you're communing with your own self, you're doing that. Another phrase that drives me bananas is that deep dive. I did a deep dive. No, you didn't. 99 times out of 10, in my experience, people who have done deep dives don't use the word deep dive. You have got the Ace of Pentacles. So you are starting a new chapter, and it's built from this knowing of who you are, of this gorgeous integration that you've had. I'm seeing a fertile garden, and you're experimenting and planting and designing, and you know you might end up making, you know, you might have a Japanese garden in one part, and then you might extend and have like a rose garden, and then you might have you know, a wild meadows garden, like a secret garden. Maybe you have a labyrinth. But that's kind of, I see how you bringing forth beauty. And part of the reason the garden thing is coming through really strong for me is because whatever it is that you're leaving behind, you're leaving behind this beautiful body of work, of relationships, of business, of whatever it is, like all the projects, or all of the fruit of your experiments with yourself. And I understand you're probably having to pay the bills and this, that, and the other, but I definitely see you as somebody who's moving in if you don't already do something that you love for work, I see that actually merging in your future, and that becoming, because you've got this really work, life, vocation, family, relationship, spirituality, like a real holistic unit about you. That's the energy that's coming through. And we have a nod to earth here, a nod to earth here as well. And then this whole deck really, you know, screams nature to me. You've got the Ace of Water too, which is the Ace of Cups. How beautiful. You're very, very connected to spirit. Absolutely. And you listen and you understand that this is available. If it all gets washed away in the morning, you can regenerate. And there's that quote that I keep quoting in every single reading I do recently, because it struck such a chord with me, is that water doesn't cleanse, it remembers. So you're really coming into that knowing of, you know, who you are and what it is that you want to bring forth. And you do that in the mundanity. It's not about like, you know, it's nice to have, you know, I want to have this kind of life, but you're very good at, you know, building that into your day to day. How do I want to feel? who would, what conversations would I be having? What does someone like that, what could I do tomorrow that would have a flavor or a sprinkle of that which I want to express? And, you could be someone who, I just see you having a lot of different, touching a lot of different, like being a bit of a butterfly. I don't want to say social butterfly, because it could show up in your social life, but it could also really show up in your creativity, or it could show up in kind of the hobbies. Like I see you getting involved in lots of different kind of things, and being one of these people that people are like, where do they get the time? Like we all have 8 hours, 24 hours a day, 8 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day, but like where how did they find the time to do all this? And, a laborer, oh my gosh, you've got another ace out. The ace of wands. You're definitely creative. And I feel like as well that being in the body is something that's really important for you as well. I'm seeing, again, the breath of fire is coming through, and the sacred keeper of the breath. So pranayama and breath work is probably really, really, really something that you are, either if you haven't played with it or not involved in it. If you're on a tarot channel, there's a good chance that you do breath work, because you will just be exposed to it probably. And then the Hanged Man. I love this for you, because this is Pisces energy, ending off, and he's upside down, and it's reminding me of bat medicine as well. So I'm really feeling like you're a shaman pile as well. Bat medicine, that phrase, I looked it up because I had bat medicine come out in a reading recently. And so bats, again, have been around for like eons. I think something like 20 million years or thereabouts, maybe even longer, maybe 30. But bats fly by echolocation. So the point of how long they've been on the earth is they've had time to evolve. Let's be honest, they've had time to evolve. And when you look, we're back to this theme of Mother Nature. Very strong. You're probably very connected to, and they also fly. So they're like, and swimming is like flying in water. So air element is really, really strong for you. Water element is really, really strong for you. And then when you add in the earth and the fire, like there you go, earth, wind and fire. But you've also got the water. But in the Hanged Man, he's in nature, he's hanging upside down, and that's what reminded me of the bat. But the bat, amazing sonar, and that's how it hunts and operates. It's also nocturnal, and also it sleeps during the day. Hello, welcome for explaining for nocturnal. But also, I was wondering if bats were blind, and they're not actually. They've got incredible eyesight, and some bats have such incredible eyesight that they almost have, they're able to see in kind of, the polarized glasses that you can get. So they're just really, really highly, highly, highly evolved. And I feel like that's you. Like you really understand. And that's echoed with the crystal guardian for me, because not only are there crystals in the earth, but there's crystals within us. And I feel like on a, you're very good at getting out of your own way. So you're good at, we've got this out for you. You're good at really, you're probably perceived as somebody quite unique and quite, I don't want to say quirky, but I'm getting that, like maybe it sticks out like a sore thumb, but not like a sore thumb. Just somebody that can be one of these kids is not like the other. That's from Sesame Street back in the day. One of these kids is doing their own thing. One of these kids is not like the other. I feel like you're that kid, and that's really beautiful. And we all have the capacity to be that. And I remember, well, most of us as kids, like we desperately want to fit into the crowd and the peer pressure. And I'm seeing Luna Lovejoy from Harry Potter in my mind. Like, she just was so smart, but she just was on a different wavelength to the rest of them. That's the best way I could do it. Her frequency was so unique. She was so just gentle and strong, but she was incredibly smart, but she didn't always get the props for who she was and what she was doing. So we've got here the last cloak, and on this deck, I'm trying to see, I have the book here somewhere. What I wanted to look at was, I can't find the book, it doesn't matter. We've got the purple again, iterated here. We've got what looks like some version of druid stones, those ancient stones. You've got the 1,000 petal lotus is what I'm seeing here, and then you've got the heart chakra, and then she's cloaked in purple. So you're highly, highly protected. And then look at her third eye. She's also got that druidic symbol on her forehead at her third eye, and then she's carrying a staff, which also looks like a flower to me. So really strong on the nature, really strong on the elements. You might be very inspired, or you might work very well with the elementals as well. And then it's number 8, release old identities, magnificence realized. So I feel you're really good. Again, we're back to that cycle energy. You're very good at just release. And we got breathing. We talked about breathing for you and breath work. Amazing. And again, some of the same colors being reiterated. You might even connect with like water sprites, or some of the ground, feel sensations, purity, clarity, expression. You might really vibe with some of the water planets like Mintaka, that kind of thing. Like if you do remote viewing or astral travel or lucid dreaming or something like that, you might go to places like that. You're getting a lot of purple here. Wow. Peacemaker, through inner peace, resolving ancient splits, peace beyond survival. And you've got the lion and the lamb here. So you're very good at tapping into Christ consciousness and seeding that. We talked about flow as well. These two came out together. Release control, divine will, oceanic consciousness. The water, I imagine, if you don't live by water, that water is very cleansing for you. You might get a lot of downloads in the shower, in the bath. Spiritual baths might be really, really good for you. You might feel really comforted around, having a water feature in your, a fountain in your house. Or, you could be someone who lives by the ocean or lives by a lake or something like that as well. You may really enjoy being in, being submerged or in water. And then you've got whale teaching as well. So whale teaching, depth of experience and healing, teacher, mentor, and share wisdom. So you're very, very connected to Mother Gaia. A lot of folks would see you as you just look at all the color that's come out in these cards. And I know these were black and white, but you have just this, in your wake, you've left this beautiful signature of just colors and sacred geometry. Whether you have a body of artistic work or not, like the color that you bring to people's lives, even in a conversation, even if they meet you at a party, in Walmart, in work, you add color to people's lives that they didn't know kind of existed. I'm hearing the Technicolor, Joseph's Technicolor code. I'm seeing that Katie Melua song, Spider Webs. The piano keys are black and white, but they sound like all the colors in your mind. So you just bring such a rich sensuality, just even it's in the tone of your voice. It's in the way your body moves. It's in how you receive people. It's a very energetic thing. People may not understand why they love being in your energy, but you bring such light and delight into people's lives. And that is, my friends, pile number ones, that is your living legacy at this point. And I am so excited for your community and everyone that you touch to, and for myself to be able to read for you, to be able to just experience you. And thank you for incarnating on this beautiful planet at this time. And I love you very much. And I do hope to see you at another reading. And if not, please consider like, commenting, sharing, or subscribing, or not. So I will see you if I see you, pile number one. Take care. Bye. Pile number two. Put your two up here. So you had Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. That is reminding me of, forget what that book is. It's about it'll come to me. Divine Feminine, gorgeous. The frequency of Divine Feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side, allowing it to express itself openly, and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. Gorgeous. Butterfly medicine, number 9. Ooh, and the icebreaker. Okay. This might be a bit of a tough message, just a heads up. But we will get into it. Pile number 2. I'm getting for this pile cold heart. For some reason, I'm getting really strong Pluto vibes, and you're being called to this, to transformation, and you're being called to transformation, and you're being called to warmth and creativity and softening. So with the icebreaker, it's about knowing that ice is very cold and it's frozen. And I'm seeing from this is that you may have been either, I'm going to give you an example. So an example is the way men and women have been raised, let's say in the last, let's go back to the 50s. So, the fairer sex, the women stayed at home, the men did the work, women had the emotions, men did the work and did the protection. And any of those kind of really strong patriarchal kind of things. So what I'm seeing there was an over-reliance on masculine energy. And for the warmth, I'm seeing you being around people and almost an expectation or entitlement that, you didn't need to provide that, potentially because of the culture that you grew up in, potentially because of the time that you grew up in, or potentially just because you may have grown up in a unhealthy environment where that was the model that you saw and you replicated. But replicate it you did, if that's what you saw. So I'm seeing someone who is overly reliant on, well, my love language is doing things. Well, just a really harshness, an unwillingness to be vulnerable, an unwillingness ever to show like to show vulnerability, to show fear, to cry. You know, big girls don't cry. Whether you're masculine or feminine, big girls don't cry. Boys don't cry. Is that a Cure song? Very much kind of that vibe I'm getting. And the problem with that is that if you don't lead with, I'm seeing an absence of the heart. And maybe deep, I'm hearing, I forget it was, the woman who used to do, excuse me, Judge Lynn, I think is her name. She used to do divorce court. And she used to say that love unexpressed is only for the person who, I'm paraphrasing again, but love unexpressed is only for the person who has it in their heart. Like, you need to show people. And I'm hearing things like, well, they know how I feel, or they should know, or whatever. So I'm getting someone who people don't know. If you do love people, they don't know it. They feel that they have to. I'm getting very strong King Lear. And the phrase with King Lear was, who doth love me the most? Which daughter doth love me the most? He goes mad in the storm. He has his 3 daughters. And he's like, who doth love me the most? Because he is the king, and he is the one with the power. And he is the one with the resources. So he is the one who's able to call the shots. So I'm getting kind of call the shots energy here. And calling the shots can be done in 2 ways. Either you're the one with the resources, or you can do it through, you know, that playing the victim. Oh, well, I guess nobody loves me, or I guess, you know, guilt, pulling the guilt, like Irish mothers, Jewish mothers are the tropes that are coming to mind very much, very strongly, where they kind of almost put their, once the kids are, what you know, those moms who kind of act to the child, I guess is the way I want to put it. But I'm getting that really strong for you. And Pluto is a very cold planet. Pluto has, you know, that Pluto rules over Scorpio, which is stagnant water. So frozen, stagnant water. So emotions that are pushed down, emotions that you're not willing to show, emotions that, you know, maybe you were taught it was shameful to show your emotions, and that real men don't show emotions. Well, your real humans have to, because if you don't process those emotions in a healthy way, and you don't recognize that you have them, they come out in really unhealthy, in very unhealthy ways. I mean, anyway, so the good news is that I'm hearing that line from Vanilla Sky where, what's her name? The one who, the Spanish one, says every passing minute every passing moment is a chance to turn it all around. So you have learned a lot by being closed off at the heart. That's what I'm really getting from this pile. Closed off at the heart. You may have been very Saturnian, duty, doing things for duty. Very, like, you could have been very stern with yourself, but then also expecting others around you to be stern on themselves, or to kind of kiss the ring because you gave, you know, you put a roof over their heads because you were the breadwinner, because, you know, you had hardships, and on and on and on. It could be any of those kind of things. So what you're being called to is to go into a hermit stage. And the divine feminine energy is all about being energy. So masculine energy is about the action. The action that you need to take right now is to review, is to reflect. I'm getting scarcity vibes from you as well. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. If you truly had faith, if you were truly connected to the divine, you would not worry about losing everything, because you know the divine has your back and you know the divine would help you to rebuild again. Think about when Christ was preaching. He would preach, "Do not build your kingdom here on earth." And I'm hearing that Harry Styles song. You can't bribe the door on your way to the sky. You look really good down here, but you ain't good. So I'm feeling like from your energy that you're not happy, that you have maybe done materially very well, but it's not fulfilling, and that you have almost like a resentment towards people who, well, it's all right for them because I was the one out doing whatever. But that's kind of like we're in the territory of codependence. Like, we're all adults once we reach the age of, legal maturity, irrespective of who our mommy or daddy or our caregivers were, irrespective of what we came from. We all have the responsibility to have personal responsibility and how we want to show up in the world, what quality of relationship we want to have, what we want to do what we want to do for a career. And sometimes it takes some of us, like I'm not going to lie, I'm a late bloomer. It took me a while to kind of adult. But, I eventually really, it became very important to me knowing what was important to me. And that's part of the reason that I do this, because this wasn't available, or wasn't in my frame of reference when I was looking for fulfillment. So you may have just kind of got into a rhythm and maybe fallen old school into something where you pay, what is that, the Verve song, Bittersweet Symphony, you pay your bills and then you die, kind of thing. I'm not saying that that's all you have done in your life, but there's a very strong energy that there's something that you want to achieve. There's something that you just completely didn't give to yourself first. And all forgiveness is self-forgiveness. And once you can stand in, and that's what the hermit mode is about. It's about going into that quietude, into your own reflection. Because in the hermit card, you see the hermit with his lamp. The lamp is his own light. It's Virgo material. It's Virgo. It's Virgo energy. Virgo is routines. It's the nervous system. It's being able to sit with your own self. And are you having conversations internally that are good for you? Are you having, are you eating the right foods? Are you tending to your body? Are you tending to your environment? Are you tending to your relationships? Or are you just, kind of like, someday I'm going to, someday, like, are you living your whole life for down the road, or are you integrating into your dailies, into your day-to-day, some of that what you want down the road? I hope I'm making some sort of sense. So the butterfly medicine is about, it's what I was trying to say is is it called the law of sufficiency? Like, you don't have to stockpile. You don't have to stockpile, work and stockpile. So, because if you're that insecure, when is it going to be enough? I'm seeing that book, Your Money or Your Life, Like there needs to be some harmony and balance. There needs to be time to enjoy your life when you're young, and hard work. You know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I'm hearing that as well. Butterfly medicine is about is air element again. So we're back to the mind. Like, so what has your mind been telling you? We talked about Virgo. Virgo is Mercury. Mercury is the Mercury rules Mercurial as well. I'm getting that. So there's the potential there to use your mind to help you to that fulfillment stage, to invite in your feminine, softer side, to relax into making a fool of yourself, to relax into doing projects. And when I say projects, I mean just like I projects, activities, something that you might have on your bucket list. For example, you might really have been inspired by something that you read when you were at some stage, and you might want to go to that place. There's somewhere maybe you want to travel to. Maybe there's some hobby you want to learn, like maybe scuba dive, or maybe, I don't know, brush paint. Maybe you just didn't let yourself go through cycles. Maybe you just kind of decided, well, this is the kind of person I am, and this is the life. And I'm hearing that phrase, well, I made my bed, I can lie in it. Well, you can, you know, there's nothing wrong with leaving your bed unmade for, you know, to go and have some adventures. I'm also feeling there's no point in crying over spilt milk. So, and Dr. Phil used to always say, not even God can change the past, but I beg to differ. Because if you're on this channel at all for any length of time, you know that one of my favorite things is talking about is that like time, like everything exists now all the time, and it's a matter of frequency. So you can clean up your mental body. You can clean up you can purify your mental body. You can purify your physical body. You can purify your emotional body. You can purify your environment. And I'm not saying go completely austere and just become a nun or a monk. What I'm saying is that idea we talked about in the last pile. Water doesn't cleanse, it remembers. It means stripping off the projections of the misconceptions or the things that you in the past thought you were supposed to do, and going back to more of your essence and experimenting from there. So peeling off the layers of stuff that, you know, you're just like, well, you know, I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't really like this. It doesn't serve me. I don't have to. I am the boss of my own life. So it's a matter of frequency and being grateful, appreciating that which you have, appreciating your opportunities, appreciating nature that's around you, appreciating that you have a family, appreciating what others that you're in relation to bring to the table, and not always feeling put upon. I'm getting a really weary, jaded vibe from either the last cycle or your cycle up until now. The good thing is you've got the Two of Cups. So that's Cancer energy, that's Cups, that's the Cancer is Moon energy, and that's again intuition, that is depth, that is dreams. So you might be getting a lot of information in your dreams. We have 13, which is the Death card. So you like it's your intuition, your soul is like somewhere over the rainbow. Your soul is yearning for fulfillment and fun and color and nobility, the King of Pentacles. It's yearning to have a legacy of something that actually aligns with who he is, with who you are. An expression of, you know, not just, well, I came, I worked, I passed away. Then you've got the Ace of Swords here, which is it's clarity, and you've got that under the Two of Cups. So your soul is calling you to partner with the divine, to partner with the intuition, calling your heart back home, to get consensus between your heart and your mind. And that doesn't mean that like every emotion that you feel is it is your experience, but it's not necessarily the factual truth of the situation of what's happening. You need to learn how to, I don't want to say regulate your emotions, but like maybe clear out some of the stuff that has built up. Again, we talked about Scorpio being stagnant water. So when water doesn't flow, when water doesn't move, there's no, there's no space for new water. There's no space for new emotion, and it gets calcified and frozen. So you want to be able to have yourself, your sun, melt the ice around your heart, melt your iced heart, so that you can really enjoy your own self, your own frequency. We've got Lady Justice here, card number 8, and that's really a call to your way to balance and to feel good is to recognize where you have really truly disappointed yourself by turning your back on that which your soul was calling to do, for shutting down your heart, for maybe turning away from maybe for putting work first. And I'm picking work first because it's kind of the easiest thing. But I kind of mean that maybe you could have just also been somebody who was really spoiled and very materialistic. Like there's a lot of rich kids who just have everything given to them, so they don't ever have that sense of achievement. They don't ever have to master anything. And they don't know how to become fulfilled because they just say, gimme, 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 and they get. And that's not fulfilling at all. You're someone, the King of Pentacles builds from the ground up. You're somebody who really does want to build, and not just in one area. Maybe you've been super successful in one area, and now, but there's a deficit in another area. And a lot of people think that they can just come together with somebody else who has that, but you haven't lived it, you haven't experienced it. Abraham Hicks used to say that's like saying, oh yeah, I know about massages, but you don't get to experience the massage if you're just watching somebody else have a massage. And then with the whole YouTube, not just YouTube, but social media, and the whole selfie culture, like people are so, especially kids now, like I didn't grow up with cell phones, I didn't grow up with smartphones for sure, but there's so much comparison culture that like women particularly were expected to look a certain way, and the amount of like comparison culture that like is really making people feel less than instead of more than. Anyway, 9 of Cups. Yeah, your soul is really calling you to, get clarity about what it is that you want, and to go after that, to really to nurture that in yourself. And it's all nice to go, to go on vacation and maybe party and whatever, but there's something that your soul really loves and really came here to do, or really wants to, just, even if it's just play and express. And maybe there's something that you want to write. Maybe there's, an old, maybe there's some old dream that you just put in. I'm seeing, in the movie Inception, where she puts her little thing in her childhood home in the dollhouse, and she locks it away. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. But that's really about, not kind of living a false reality. And it's all about, for me, how projection and mind, and live like sharing consciousness with other people, and all sorts of nonsense that can end up getting you into. You've also got the King of Swords here. So being discerning, really being discerning with yourself and allowing yourself to know what it is that you truly like, having clarity about, you know, who you want to be around and about what you want to spend. We all get 24 hours a day. Really being discerning about, well, what does my morning routine look like? What does my evening routine look like? If you're, let's say you're the mother or the father, a working parent of kids, you probably don't have a lot of free time, but you do have some. And with that, like, when you have some downtime, like, what would you love to do in that time? If you're somebody who's retired, you've waited all your life to be retired, what are you doing with that time? Like, are you watching TV? Are you traveling the world? But there's something that you're longing for that you're avoiding. And why are you avoiding it? Is it because you're afraid you'll be ridiculed? Is it because you're afraid you don't think you can achieve it? Is it that you don't have the money? Like, how can you replicate that energy of the thing that's calling to you? And if you don't know what it is, like, wouldn't it be fun to find out? Or couldn't it be fun? And then you've got the 10 of Pentacles here at the end. So there's something in you, pile number 2, that is really calling to, and maybe it's lots of things. Maybe there's 10 things. Maybe you have a bucket list of 10 things that you really want to achieve, do, play with, experiment with. It doesn't mean that you have to make a list of 1 to 10 and you have to execute an order or anything like that. But maybe just start brainstorming with yourself, start having conversations with yourself. Maybe you've been so wound up and so stressed. Maybe you had a super stressful job. Maybe many people have had addictions that they have had to overcome. So maybe some of the things that used to work for you don't work for you. Maybe you've been around people who just wouldn't appreciate you as you were, and you're just screaming to be yourself. So having conversations with yourself, you're being your own hermit, taking time to understand. Maybe you're just coming to tarot, because I feel like a lot of people who come to tarot already are seekers to some degree. So maybe you're asking about somebody else. Maybe you're asking about somebody else, and they've been successful at living a life kind of like this, and you're like, how are they doing it? It's by this. It's by having conversations with themselves, by meditating, by and they say that, like, prayer is speaking to God, but meditating is listening to God. And if you don't like the word God, if you're not spiritual or religious, you can just call it life, call it higher self, call it inner artist, call it whatever you want. But there's a bigger force than just our egos. And we know that they can scientifically prove it. Like, there's such cool stuff available to just investigate and play with. Like, came across this, I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I came across this thing the other day where they were like, they have developed these force fields where inside of the force field they can slow down, they can manipulate time. So, and they were saying that a real world application of that would be something like in the medical field. So if you can make a force field and inside you slow down time, imagine what that would do to, like, being able to do medical transplants on people. It would, like, the chance of it extending people's lives would be huge. Like, it would totally revolutionize that side of medicine. So there's something in you that wants to be grounded, maybe many things. Maybe the journey to finding that out is the thing that your soul is desperately wanting to experience. So, as I said, pile number 2. Every passing moment is another chance to turn it all around. So that is the good news. We're all divine. It's not saying that your life is meaningless, not even a little bit. Like, all of that can you imagine when you start turning and going in this direction, how it's like, you know, when you have a glass of water in the searing heat, the refreshment that you feel, all of that is there for the taking for you. If it's something that you choose, fire and water, if it's something that you choose to experience, I hope you do for your own, you know, in experience, enjoyment. But we all have free will, so you know, that's how people are doing it. We've got fire and water, stillness amidst turmoil, feel emotional integration. So there may be, you know, there may be traumas that are hard to look at in your past, and maybe I'm a huge proponent of therapy, but not all therapists not all therapists are created equal. You have to find one that works with you. If you have trauma, it's very good to work with somebody who's not going to re-traumatize you, that's going to give you tools to be able to titrate some of that trauma, to be able to release some of it at a different time. And then you have this baby golden dragon here for sovereignty. 1, right to choose, immunity to hooks. And you had the death card here. For a second I thought it was devil, but it's death. It's that sovereignty card is really screaming to me that, like, and it's gold. You're desperate to get to the gold within yourself. And you can only find that by going hermit mode. You can only find that by going within. So I hope, pile number 2, that this wasn't too harsh for you. I am so glad that you stopped by and that you gave me an opportunity to read for you. This, of course, energies can be flipped, so it could also be someone that you're dealing with. But you can't do anybody's work for anyone. You can't think their thoughts for them. And nobody can do that for you. You can't live your life for them. You can't live their life for them. You can't feel their feelings for them. You can't feel their emotions for them. You can't heal them. You can just interact with them on a healthy level. And if they're ABUSIVE, then you have no choice but to move away. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope to see you at another pile. And if you found something useful or know of somebody that this could help, I would love it if you would consider liking, commenting, sharing, and or subscribing, pile number 2. Have a great rest of your day or evening. Bye, pile number 2. Right, pile number 3. You have Miss Kali Ma. The old must be released so the new can enter. Gorgeous. Healing. 29. That breaks down to an 11. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. Ooh, lovely. I'm hearing the hills are alive with the sound of music. Oh, you've got the blank one. That's been coming out a lot earlier. And you've got the confidant from the Dragon Oracle. Dragon Oracle, for the Love of Dragons Oracle deck. And this one is from Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. So Kali, love Kali. My favorite story of Kali is, she has this, she is the consort of Shiva. But the story I heard of Kali when I was on my my journey my explorations of the lore of, and when I say lore, I mean I mean the stories, but I also mean the stories that you know, you can decide for yourself whether they're true or not, or how symbolic they are. I'm just going to leave it at that. I love that she's got a lotus in her hands, that beautiful pink lotus. And you've got the dark side of the moon up here as well. And from her third eye, the story that I heard about Kali's inception is that she was born of the forehead of Durga. And Durga is the supreme mother, the supreme goddess. And there was, in the Vedas, there was the demon that couldn't be slayed by the godheads, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. And from their energies, they created Durga, and from Durga's forehead came Kali. And Kali is death energy, and that's just endings. So it's interesting actually that we're talking about what is your legacy to date? What are you leaving behind? So that's really marking a transformation. So you're going from one stage into another, and maybe it's a cyclical thing. Maybe you're really, really adept at, people will recognize you as somebody who is good at ending things and moving into new cycles, and not taking the baggage of the old with you. You can take the wisdom, and you can take the love, and you can integrate who you've become through those experiences. But it's very difficult to move forward if you're carrying all your baggage from the past. And of course, you've got the healing card as well, which suggests trauma, and which suggests maybe past life. Maybe you came in, maybe you're starseed and you came in to like bring healing to a family lineage or a family name, maybe on both sides. And Kali really is good at helping with that, and good at slaying attachments. A few years ago, it was interesting, like Kali I couldn't get Kali out of my mind for some reason. And I had never really, I'd come across her, because I had spent some time at an ashram, but like I just kept seeing her, and she kept popping up in everywhere I was. And then I was dreaming about her, and it was like she was knocking on my door. And I ended up reading a book about her. And after that, I went through some big transformations in my own life. So if you have things that you need to transition through, calling on Kali energy is really, really effective. And she's incredibly loving as well. And we're talking about legacy as well. So when you think about after somebody passes, for example, we call it, we have a wake for them, which makes sense. I guess that's where it came from. What did you leave in your wake? What is your legacy? We're celebrating, like the celebration of them is called a wake. Awake, 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 awake. So when you're entering new stages of consciousness, you're becoming more awake. I love that. Okay. And then you have the confidant. So there are times where you may go through life and you're moving from one, you may switch jobs. So you may kind of lose one set of work colleagues and you're going into a new set of work colleagues. And but there's also, if you're on a tarot channel, there's a good chance that you're aware of astrology as well. So there are points on the astrological, I want to say grid. I don't want to say timeline. And I want to say grid as in like multi-dimensional grid. Because as you know, on this channel, we know that all time happens at all stages. It's just a matter of tapping into the frequency and matching the frequency that we want. That does not mean saying, oh, I think I'm just going to match the frequency that I want and then I'm going to have everything. That toxic positivity, abracadabra, I'm going to manifest. Yeah, we know that's That's not how it works. Manifesting is much easier, much more effective when you have pure channels, because you don't have a lot of interference. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you know what I'm saying. But when you've a lot of stuff to clear, you can, when you've a lot of stuff to clear, you have to go through that healing and that clearing. And healing for me is kind of the same as remembering. So it's less, healing is more about pulling off, removing the things that cause us to feel bad, that cause us to feel ill at ease, that cause dis-ease. It's removing, it's getting closer to the divine. Anyway, you've got the blank medicine card. So if there is an animal that really, really speaks to you, maybe you wanna look into that. But also in this deck, it's the animal medicine deck. This is also telling me that you're at a stage where you've done a lot of healing, and that you're at a blank. The rest is still unwritten. You're about to write a new chapter, or you've cleared some ground. And Kali is also reminding me of James. I think it was James Blake and Bon Iver had a song, I Need a Forest Fire. Forest fire is reminding me of those large sequoia trees and the large redwood trees in California. I don't know if they exist in other places, but they're definitely in Tahoe. And those trees, they absolutely, in order to actually regenerate, they require a forest fire. So there's something very powerful about your energy. There's something really, you have to be able to manage Kali energy well. I feel like you do have to, really be a bit of a powerhouse. I feel like you're a natural healer, and you might be one of these people who, the confidence is kind of reminding me of someone who probably is a starseed, who likely had imaginary friends as a child, which were your star fam, your magical confidants, and you may have gotten a lot of ridicule. You may have gotten people being afraid, they'll think she's nuts, don't do that. You may have been conditioned out of that, so you may have forgotten. There may be some lost treasure. So the healing may be you removing all of the projections and all of the conditioning that made you, the brainwashing that made you forget about your connection to the dragons, about your connection to other realms, about the the astral travel, about the remote viewing that you were doing as a child. Like, you might have been really psychic, you might have been really gifted, an indigo child, and you might have really freaked some people out. Eight of Swords, interesting. So I'm feeling like you're definitely a super psychic pile. Of course, you've got the third eye here as well, standing out really, really, really strongly. And then, of course, I'm hearing that song, he's got the whole world in his hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. And she's got the lotus, and the lotus grows out of the mud. So you may have been in some sticky as a child, and had to have the strength to grow out of it. This always reminds me, this strength card particularly reminds me of Venus, because they say that Venus is internally corrosive but externally serene, which means that when you have a problem, or you have when you have negative emotions that bubble up inside of you, you're much more likely to turn them in on yourself than take them out on other people. And other people might have been like, oh my God, I love her energy, she's so healing to be around, I always feel good. But meanwhile, they're just like dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping on you. And this is also, I'm loving her beautiful, like flaming red hair. So you might have some gifts coming online. I'm really getting very strongly for you that you've actually been through a lot of your healing. You're reconnecting with some spirit guides from childhood, or that you're coming into a stage where you have just activated so much and you have purified so much that it's coming. I'm hearing that song from Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, that hello, is there anybody out there? Can you hear me? That you're able to, and I always get the idea of this ship at sea who's kind of lost in a storm, and that their connection is going in and out when I hear that song. And I feel like that you may have been dumped on so much by other people's nonsense that you couldn't maintain open communications as much as you would like, or as much as was intended for you. And you've needed immense strength. You didn't know, because Eight of Swords is notorious for not knowing that we have the power to walk away. So Kali, my energy might have been really instrumental, and now you've got the King of Pentacles. Might have been really instrumental in helping you, raised to the ground. Bic Runga, what is that song? Stay. Bic Runga, Stay. Beautiful, beautiful song. She might have been really instrumental in helping you cut through some karmic cords. Leave situations that really were not giving to you, that were really draining for you, that were making you sick. I'm seeing here, I'm getting really strong kryptonite. Kryptonite was his home planet, Superman's home planet, and when he was around kryptonite, it drained him of all of his powers and all of his energy. Like, not just that he became a normal human being, but it completely debilitated him. So you could have had a really toxic family. You've got King of Coins and King of Wands. So you're very creative. You're very beautiful. You know who you are. You're fiery. And it might have been too much. I'm really getting very strong starseed. And kings are masters. The queens are healers, but kings are masters. So maybe you got stuck at queen energy while you were around some toxic people. Eight of Coins, and you had to work really, really, really hard, that you never could ascend to your masterly status as long as you were around kryptonite. And at some point you got clarity, and maybe through Kali, maybe Camelot had to burn. Nine of Wands, carrying other people's burdens. Eight of Swords, Nine of Wands, carrying other people's burdens. You had to be cut free from that. Oh, and this kind of slid out. This is the Knight of Wands, and this Knight of Wands, she had a twin sister who was more. I think it's a Norwegian fairy tale, but she has this crazy red cape. She was kind of stuck off into the, kind of almost put up in the attic or the basement, figuratively speaking, and she had a pretty sister who eventually got captured, but it was her who went after them and rescued her sister and saved the day. And then you've got the Ace of Coins, Ace of Pentacles. So I feel like for you that you had to leave a very toxic situation. You had to heal. You could have been very intensely traumatized by I really getting very strong cycle breaker energy. Camelot had to burn. Raised to the ground, I'll cut you down before you go and break me. That's the line I'm hearing from that Bic Runga song. I think it's called Stay. If I think of it, I'll link it in the comments. Yeah, I'm so sorry, pile number 3. You have been through it. With Confidant, you're very protected. You've learned to really keep your own counsel. But I feel like with this blank, You're being encouraged to really talk to your guides, talk to yourself, express, maybe journal, paint, dance, express, see all this beauty, like the creativity and the light that's in here. Express what your heart wants to a confidant. And that might be someone that you can trust. Because very often when we have been really gaslit and our wings have been clipped and we haven't allowed to actually be our demented selves, that we and I mean that in a beautiful way, like just being able to just be our natural wild selves, we can be fearful of who to trust, or we can be fearful of showing that side of us. So finding somebody, whether it be a therapist or, really I'm hearing, put it into your art, put it into, like, tell it to yourself first. So maybe writing letters, like really connecting with your inner child. I'm seeing Ganesh come through as well now. Just like maybe, and this came up in another reading, like maybe closing your eyes, like maybe drawing or painting with your eyes closed, something like that, or even automatic writing with your eyes closed, so that what you're connecting pen to paper, but you're really expressing the energy. It doesn't matter what actually the paper looks like afterwards. What matters is that you're, with your eyes closed or with an eye mask on, you're really being put back in connection with your own breath, with your own your heart is connected to your experience of writing or painting or whatever it is. Or maybe dance with a blindfold on. Like, obviously be safe, be set the room up so that you don't do anything crazy that would hurt you. If you have a studio or a nice yoga space where you can do something like that, that might be really, like, put on some of your favorite music and move and allow yourself to move really slowly and on your breath. Something like that could be really, oh my goodness. Creation, unique expression, flow of creation, joyfulness. And then you can see a face here. So there, I'm getting a lot of purity here for you. Like, you have cleared away, you have come home to such a natural frequency for you, that you're just like, no matter what you do now, your ability to manifest is really, really strong now. So be careful what that phrase, be careful what you wish for. So be really mindful about where you're putting your energy. Be really mindful about how you're expressing. I had this experience the other day where, they say that the psoas muscle is the muscle of the soul, where I was just doing a meditation and I was ending up in conversation literally with my psoas, and just having, like, speaking to it and speaking to her and asking my psoas to, like, tell me in her own time, when she is ready, what she needs, what she wants, how I can support her. Because it's really hard to get at your psoas muscle. Like, I can go and I can work out in the gym, but you can't directly work out your psoas muscle. So maybe write your, I don't know why this is coming out, but, like, people, that's where all your trauma gets stored. So I'm getting that you might have had years of trauma stored, like, even from past lives. Like, again, we talked about you being a cycle breaker for maybe both sides of your family lineage, for example. So maybe really learning how to do something like TRE, and expressing just really strong self-expression, like getting those emotions out of your body and onto paper in a way that works for you, or out of your body and into the earth, maybe creating a garden, something like that. Wow. Well of dreams. You've got the turtle here twice. So, and the turtle is very, it's a very auspicious animal. Creation, visions, messages, dissolve the veil, bliss, dreams. I feel like if you write down your dreams, you can buy dream journals online, or you could just write it in a notebook, whatever. But, like, really paying attention to what's coming up in your dreams, and then reading back on that could be really could really help you unlock and move some of any residual stuff. I feel like you've done a lot of healing, but your psoas you might be at that stage where you're reluctant to express publicly because you may feel that like you will experience some of what you've experienced before, but you're at this stage where you've really got to a level of purification, of back to as close to source. I'm not saying you're a perfect person. That's not what I'm saying. You're back more to your natural frequency than you ever have been. You've learned a lot of lessons. You've cleared a lot of karma. You have healed so many people that you probably will never know until you cross over to the other side, or get to a stage where, yeah, I'm even feeling that even you know how it's very hard to read yourself. You can read other people, but it's very difficult to read yourself. And it makes sense, because if you could read yourself, like you can do it innately by kind of following your intuition and being balanced and moving from that space and getting yourself settled in an energy before you make a decision, getting yourself settled in, like really being present before you meet somebody, and that kind of thing, by really managing your energy and your emotional state. And you can do that really quickly through breath work and things like that, because you're now at the stage where you're not carrying this like legacy of trauma from your entire family, but your body maybe doesn't know that yet. So maybe by getting it onto paper, you'll help to relax your body a bit more. And then we have doorways into now, letting go of the warrior. There we go, portals. So I feel like this next stage, like this has been a really cleansing, healing. And again, by cleansing, I mean coming back to your natural state. But as you've been coming back to your natural state, you have cleared a lot of generational trauma for your ancestors in doing that. And they're very proud of you. They're absolutely proud of you. I'm hearing, your ancestors are funny. I'm hearing gracias, but I'm also seeing as grassy ASS. So it's kind of, and I'm seeing a kid just like rolling around in the grass. And I'm seeing that movie, the new Little Prince movie where they have the girl as the protagonist, and the song in that that I'm thinking of is called Turn Around, and it's by Camille. I'll try and remember to put the songs for you in the description box. But it's super. There's your inner child is coming through very strong. You have been through a lot. You didn't get a chance to really be to come up, I guess. I'm seeing the case of Benjamin Button now. So now you're getting to experience some of the childhood things that you were busy clearing karma in the past for. And we'll pull one. Oh, nurture. Gorgeous. Self-healing Ruby Ray, birthing the new earth. You're definitely, well, I believe you're a starseed. If you're not into starseeds, it might be something that you want to look in and explore, but definitely you've got that gorgeous frequency that you have, indigo child starseed, that you've anchored into this incarnation. And thank you so much for being here and letting me read your energy. And I wish you every joy and frolic and fun and adventure and love and whatever it is that your heart desires, that's available for you. Again, be careful what you wish for. It doesn't mean don't that every thought, don't get paranoid about it. Just be mindful about, well, if you're over consuming, I don't know, if you're over consuming something like, there's a lot of things to be upset about in the world at the moment. So make sure that you allowing yourself to experience creativity, fun, enjoyment, experimentation. That is how you can really help uplift. It doesn't mean that you don't get to check on what's going on in the world. You can, and you absolutely do need to be safe in the world. But the most important thing that you can do for yourself, and also as part of your healing of the planet, is to really allow yourself to be in that frequency of appreciation, of gratitude, of play, of joy, of expressing, of dancing. I'm not talking about partying and getting drunk. I'm talking about like just really, I'm not saying that you can't have a glass of wine either. But what I'm saying is that it's a different frequency. I'll just leave it at that. So pile number 3, you guys are absolutely stunningly beautiful, your energy. I wish you the very best, and I do hope to see you again here at another reading. So take care of yourselves. Bye, bye, bye.